Welcome to Group 9's Screen Media Database presentation. My name is Josiah, and we'll be going over the real-world situation and the problem that we're trying to solve with our unique solution. Due to the recent popularity of TV series and movies, we seek to solve the problem of finding the best screen media, another name for TV series and movies, that is most suitable for our precious viewing time. Different users look for different characteristics and qualities in screen media that our system must accommodate for all users of various tastes. In our world of screen media, there are actors, directors, and production companies, the players involved with the screen media through contracts, and if they do a good job, they may be receiving various awards. Additionally, users may have their own unique opinions about screen media. Our solution to the problem is to capture information about screen media such as the genre, release date, and other attributes. And additionally, we will be storing information on actors, directors, and production companies through their contractual information with the screen media and any awards they may receive. Additionally, users may rate a system, and we will capture information. We may capture information about the user's ratings, such as their gender and the recommended age that they see fit for the content of the screen media. Additionally, our database captures information from pre-existing databases, and additionally, if there's any missing information, users can update it with our database to make the database as complete as possible and to optimize the user experience.
First, we're going to go through the business rules that result into this ER diagram. Screen media can be either movie or series, but not both. Each movie can have 0 or 1 sequel, and a movie can be sequel of one and only one movie. An episode is related to one and only one season and series, and we want to store the date that the episode was aired. A screen media must be produced by at least one production company or more. A production company can produce 0 or more screen media. And besides, a production company can be registered before making a production. A screen media can be rated by 0 or more ratings, and each rating is related to one and only one screen media. Personnel can be either an actor, a director, or both of them. A screen media must have at least one director or more. A director can direct 0 or more screen media, and for each director hired for a screen media, we want to keep a record of the date and salary. An actor can star in 0 or more episodes. Each episode can have 0 or more actors in it, and for each actor in a certain episode, we want to keep track of the character name as well as the hire date. An actor can star in 0 or more movies. Each movie can have 0 or more actors, and for each actor in a certain movie, we want to keep track of the character name, salary, and hire date. 0 or more directors can be nominated for a certain award, and we want to be able to know for which screen media as well as the year. A certain award can be given to one and only one director. The status will help us keep track of whether the director won it, only one director can, or was just nominated, several directors can. Each director can be nominated or awarded for 0 or more different categories of awards. Actors awards for certain movies work the same well as the director award. Awards for actors in a series work in a similar fashion. The same goes with screen media, where it can be nominated or awarded for 0 or more different categories of awards.
Hey, my name is Chris Kowalski. I'm going to mainly be talking about the implementation of our project. Now, the implementation is where we've had to go beyond the processes of just databases and learn how to connect it to other things. Because ours is a website, we got to toy around with HTML, a lot of PHP. That's pretty much the entire backbone of what we're doing, and a little bit of JavaScript as well. So in the MySQL Workbench, I'm just going to show you a little bit of how we implemented this. We went ahead and from our deliverables 3, created in MySQL Workbench, as you can see here, our tables, which for MovieDB, which is what our database name is, we have all the different tables that we created through SQL commands, and each one of them has different amounts of data in them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go over to what our database in the background is doing. Now, our database has all these different things, all these different tables that each do a little bit different, but they're all connected. Most of these have information, all of them have information in them currently. And as you can see, these are our early test cases where the ID screen media is just an integer, whereas just a random low integer like frozen, whereas when we started actually filling our database with real information, we used the ID. We took off the end of a IMDb, which is the movie database that's pretty much the de facto standard right now. Those have TT appended to the beginning of them, and we took that off in order to create our ID screen media. Our ID screen media is a primary key for many different things, so that is one of the keys to our implementation. Like when you have the matrix here, when you go to rating, one of the things that it has is ID screen media, and up here is one of the screen media for the matrix or whatever movie we're doing. As this site is updated, it uses two different databases. It uses both ours and it uses IMDb because we go about the process of standing on the shoulders of giants. The IMDb is a huge database full of all sorts of movie information, but as was said earlier, we're trying to go a little bit beyond that. We're trying to have commenting sections. If you go to IMDb, the problem with that is that the only data available there is what they have. What if, say, their database doesn't have everything on a movie? That's when we start to have issues. Now, here's a bit of how it works. We have this website, which starts here. It's the Movie Database Information System. And I'm going to go ahead and type one that is already fully in our database. If we go to Screen Media here, we can see that Frozen, children's classic, is already fully in the database. So, with that said, I'm going to go to the Movie Database Information System and I'm going to type in Frozen. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to query our database based upon our deliverables in number 3. So when I do this, here's what we get. Frozen, the top result has movies with these attributes. It gives you production year, release date, runtime, actors, all sorts of information. But we also have these notifications for like the latest user description, stuff like that, where you wouldn't have that in IMDb, where users are able to comment, create a recommended user age, import their gender and for when they're making a comment so that you know, well, females really like this movie, but guys may not be quite on the same page. Now, going a little bit further than that, I'm going to show you some of the PHP that we have in place that's going on. Now, let me go ahead and connect to the website via FTP. And actually, I already have some of this stuff up. Based upon our deliverables 3, when the first one, when that movie is entered in over here on the main page, when you search for a movie, what it's going to is to this PHP. And it's saying get search query, which is basically just saying grab whatever is at the top of the page and use it for, well, we're going to see screen media title right here where it says do all of this. You're going to select from all these different tables this information and use some inner joins where the title screenmedia.title is equal to whatever title it is. I chose Frozen, so that part right there is going to change to Frozen. We're then going to query the MySQL database and then return the result.
So as was being explained before, what we have is a query inside of a PHP file, and we're storing it in a PHP string. that string is going to be queried and will generate a result. Now, what this is doing is, if the movie is not in the database, we're going to create a shell. And with that shell, we are going to start filling in some initial data from IMDb. And with that shell, we'll be able to add stuff later. Chris was explaining earlier and showing how it was going to be displayed on the website. And this is done by using these echoes. Now, what this is going to do is, even if it's not found, it's going to echo in this HTML and display it on the page. And when this PHP is called from loop meta, it's going to grab all the information from IMDb to create a shell, and then echo it, and it's going to generate into a specific HTML, which is done by loop meta. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use this function called check, and it's going to check if the specific thing you search for is in the database. If it's not in the database, it's going to allow the user to add into the database. This is a key to our program, is that the users are allowed to add information into our database, which then allows us to add in user descriptions, user comments, and things like that. And we're going to show an example. And we're going to do a movie that we don't have in the database currently. For example, The Dark Knight. We could check to see in the database if it was there, but it's not. And we'll show that, see, we currently didn't have it in there, but some information isn't there, like the latest user description, stuff like that. But there we have stuff like the rating, the IMDb tag, and that's generated and grabbed from IMDb. But if we go check our database, and we'll check, and we'll see that The Dark Knight was not there previously. But if we refresh our database, we will see that the Dark Knight entry was created at the bottom. And that gives us the IMDb tag, a description. And if we go in the rating, if you were to check with the ID generated, you would see stuff like that. But let's do an example of a latest user description. We'll try user description. Actually, we'll just take the plot and use that as the latest description, or as user description. And user comment, we'll just put it as user comment. Now, male for my gender, age 22, and we'll submit those. Now, if we check our URL, we will see the recommended viewer age. That's just a get function. There are get commands, and those are used by our PHP to gather our information. So now if we search The Dark Knight again with our new information added, then we'll see new data. The latest user data was what we entered in. Latest user comment was user comment. Last user commenter was male. And with this, people will be able to add in their own comments later on. And then we also have a backend side where admins will be able to delete inappropriate comments and things like that that we don't want in our database.